And we're back. Sorry we missed some episodes and some stages, but here we are. Tyler Yankee, Between Two Wheels podcast, stages 17 and 18. Some drama. It's the last chance for some of the riders to actually get the breakaway, to get a win. We've seen some teams that haven't got wins yet. Are they going to do it? Preview of things to come. It looks like Carapaz maybe have done it. He's been lighting it up. He's already had the yellow jersey. Does EF Education turn from the movie star debacle type of team to a team that gets a stage win at the Tour de France? Find out. It's stages 17 and 18. Between Two Wheels podcast, episode 359, right now.
Massive number of people have been upgrading. Yes,
there you go. You see the great balloon that you were talking about before.
The race we've got yet again, and a victor then goes victory to an American, Andy Hampton.
The belt to go by. He looks at the Colombian rider. How are you doing?
Straight past Santiago Patero, and he's coming up to Pantani.
Armstrong is sitting in the last few hundred meters as we come towards the finish of this monumental stage. And
as we start to approach the line now, Pantani grits his teeth and accelerates and over the line.
Is going now to win stage number 15. Sepp Kuss, an emotional finish from Durango in the USA. Sepp Kuss wins.
Between Two Wheels podcast coming at you, episode 359. Sorry I missed yesterday's tour stage, which was stage 17. Just haven't been feeling so good and worked from home and just had a lot of stuff to do. So, but I came into the office today. I had court this morning via online. I'm done. I thought I would shove this thing out here real quick. And you can maybe watch along with me because I didn't do a ton of deep diving on any of these stages, but there was some interesting things here. And we got Victor in the house. Great to have you there, Victor. Between Two Wheels is live. Yes, it is. Welcome, everybody. So there's a few things. One, stage 17. Let's get exactly where are we going? St. Paul Trois-Châteaux to Super de la Vaux. 177.8 kilometers. We went over this profile a little bit before. Maybe we should take a look at it one more time, just so everyone gets an idea of kind of where this was yesterday's stage, people. So, and the biggest thing we're going to talk about yesterday is a breakaway going to stay away? And if so, who's going to win that? What team is actually going to be able to get up there and get this breakaway going? Here's the profile. It's got a lumpiness to it. Got some climbs coming at the end, so you know it's going to be somewhat detrimental to the flatlanders. The sprinters aren't going to make it, but there's a sprint along the way, so there's still sprint points available. And then, are the GC riders going to do anything here? And you know what? We're gonna walk our way through this a little bit. So let's pull up the video, and I think that's the best way to actually do it. I didn't get the there we go. I did not get the screenshots taken care of, so we'll just walk our way through this as we have done before, and see if I can remember some of this here. But there was a breakaway up the road. Ben Healy had talked about something. Gourmet, people were getting COVID. I think Geraint Thomas had COVID. Tade's talking about whatnot. He says, give me a call. And there you go. There's the boys. Okay. Extended highlights, stage 17. They're up the road. Lotto is doing some work. They're trying to get people up the road. Everyone's trying to get someone up the road to basically have this thing happen. They're coming into there was some wind, I guess, taken care of. Let's make sure this is 2024. Yeah, this is the stage we're talking about here. They did have a sprint. There was some echelons forming. There was some danger of the wind early on, but the teams are pretty much being able to control it. And the big issue is first going to be who is going to win the first sprint along the way. A breakaway's up the road, and that goes to, I think, Magnus Cort Nielsen. But then there was a sprint behind. Once again, all day long, it was pretty brutal out there. You did get to see Visma Lisa Bike putting some riders up into the break. Laporte's up there. I think Tish Benut is up there. So they had some riders up in the break, and it's like, are they trying to get the stage win? Or are they just satellite riders to help if your GC guy has trouble. Well, it comes into the fore later on, and we're going to see exactly how that played itself out. Let's see, Simon coming into the last. I want to say this though before we get there. So we had the sprint because they didn't show it in the highlight. Magnus Cort takes this sprint over Roman Grigor, Tish Benut in third, and Bob Jungels. Those four, I think, were out there pretty much a break along the way. Then Binim Girmay does win the next spot over Jasper Philipsen, but he only gains 1 point. But to Jasper's dismay, he only lost 1 point. In other words, he didn't gain anything on Girmay, and he needs to start where he's gaining 20 points and Girmay is getting 0, and this is pretty much looking like it's going to be Girmay all the way. There was another sprint, KOM sprint, Magnus Cort gets that. Then we have some other ones along the way, and those ones we will talking about here. But in the meantime, let's get back up to the race. Simon Yates, this group gets up there. There's 4 of them, but then there's another break that kind of catches up to this. And from that, a few kilometers, 20 or so kilometers out from the finish, Simon Yates heads off the front. Now he's looking pretty good. He hasn't. I think he was 4th last year in the Tour, so obviously he can ride well. He did. Remember, he came into the finish with his brother, who ended up getting the stage win, and so he wasn't able to do that. But he's looked good. And this year it's just been off a little bit, and Jayco's had a little trouble. They've had that one stage win with Groenewegen. Are they going to get a second one here with Yates? Yates is looking well, but behind, Carapaz decides that he's going to take off from this. And Carapaz, we've seen him getting better. I think EF quite possibly could have won more stages in this, or multiple stages in this Tour, if they didn't ride weird. Okay, there's times where they're chasing each other down. Carapaz and Healy are doing a ton of work, sometimes for naught. We'll talk about stage 18 because that's kind of like what it looks like there as well. But here, Carapaz, he looks like he's at least got himself in the right spot, which is he's got one rider up the road, and you've got to crest over this climb, and then you're going to come into the finish. And with that, you have you being Carapaz has a really good chance of taking this thing on. He distanced himself from the Israel Primatech rider, gets done, and then he's solo. Stephen Williams, that's who he was with. Stephen Williams actually drifts back and ends up a ways back overall. But Carapaz coming up on Yates, comes up nicely. Then goes right through him. He sits there for a little bit and then goes through him with about 1.8 left to the top of the climb. And then over the top of the climb, you have a descent, and you're thinking maybe 17 seconds, maybe Yates has a chance. But Carapaz put it on like his life was in trouble. From behind, now let's go back here. They have, let's see, did they show how far he was behind the yellow jersey? Oh, I thought I saw it going over the top. They had some data. There we go. 8 minutes back to the peloton. So 8 minutes behind him, those riders are coming out. And for some reason, Tadej, I think, just got bored, and he accelerates really hard out of this front group, immediately distancing himself from everybody. His kick is enormous, and Jonas is not able, he doesn't have that kind of, Jonas Vingegaard does not have the same kind of initial kick as Tadej does, and he easily distanced himself. But what I thought was going to be interesting was Jonas looked like he really dug deep, and he was going to be able to sit on it and get on his wheel. He gets up there. He does a lot of looking around. He doesn't have teammates to help. Once again, this is the Sepp Kuss area. If you had him here, Sepp would probably either do one of a few things. One, initially get him up there, or help him not have to do those accelerations, and instead you do in microbites, being able to up your pace just a little bit to where Tadej is to get yourself up to the wheel. I think that's what's done it. Tadej is able to accelerate really hard, and then he goes, okay, after that. He's able to recover. That acceleration, Jonas can't do that, so he's got to try to get there, and he tries to go with him on those, and then he doesn't have those legs to kick with that same acceleration, and when it dies down and it's all just the two of them going at it, he just doesn't really have it. But behind here, as always, is Remco Evenepoel, not having the same ability either, but Remco actually comes up and then is able to go through Jonas, and coming over the top here, he being Remco actually is ahead of Jonas. Now, Jonas comes over the top, and immediately over the other side, he's going to be chasing Pogacar, and it's looking like everything all over again. Stage 2, stage 11, a bunch of these different ones where he's gone over he being Pogacar has gotten a lead over the top and then kill him on the downhill. However, on this time, he had Laporte up the road. Laporte starts helping out, as does Jonas immediately at this point, gets up to Remco, and those guys start going, and they catch Tadej. That's not a problem. Then they're going to go into the finish. Meanwhile, Carapaz goes up there. He gets the stage win, finally, for Ecuador and EF. They finally get their stage win. Now he's won one in the Tour. He's won one in the Vuelta, and obviously he won in the Giro by actually winning the overall. Remember, he almost won the whole race in the Vuelta a few years ago. I think it was 2019? It's the year I want to say it was. The Vuelta, remember, was it the last day, I think, up the climb, Roglic crumbles. That's also the year Jonas had actually surpassed Sepp as far as the last guy in the mountains. Sepp had a tough day there. Jonas did a little bit better, but both of them kind of crumbled. And Remco, Roglic was on his own, and he fought, and Carapaz barely wins the stage, I think, that day, but then almost missed out on getting the red jersey by about 30 seconds or so. He gets it here, and now he has a stage win in all of them. These trio, though, they come up to the end, and he being Jonas actually gets another teammate, gets Tish Benut. However, Remco had attacked. He goes off the front, looking to get a little bit more time. At this point, Tadej finally says, I don't need to do anything. So he makes Jonas do the work. Jonas gets up there, though, gets Tish Benut to do a little bit more work for him. However, Tadej also gets a teammate up there to do some work for him. Remco comes across, gets a little bit more time, and then Tadej kicks hard, drops Jonas, and gets a little bit extra time as well. There you go. There's the finish. Carapaz, Yates put 37 seconds onto him. Enric Mas was trying to get up there. Also, Laurens de Plus, Oscar Onley, Guillaume Martin, Magnus Cort Nielsen, Wout Poels, Jagat, and Aram Buru, the top 10 for the riders there. Pogacar extends himself a little bit over Vingegaard, but loses a little bit to Evenepoel and extends to everyone else. That was stage 17. Look, Biniam Girmay, he increased himself 1 point, still in the 30 or so points range there, 33 points range over Jasper Philipsen. Still dicey on that front, so we'll see how the next one goes. Now, let me just say, having the satellite riders up there for Jonas finally paid off. I think that was, you get them up the road. You didn't know that Tadej was going to do this wicked attack. Jonas isn't able to follow, and it saved him maybe another minute. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen the next few days? I think we know, but you don't know. No. So there is a possibility that Tadej falters and Jonas comes good. With that in mind, Remco is coming better and better, and I think that's going to be great for things to come in the next few years. You know, he's 5 minutes down, but if you start to get that in that 2 minute range, especially with the time trials and the way he can do, I mean, I at this point, the way Remco is riding, and he's riding better, and you're able to see what he did to yesterday, I think with the last stage being a time trial, see if he's able to get to these next two decent shape, and he's actually looking like he's improving, you're going to see him cut that lead in the final time trial possibly, or win it. I think he could actually win the final time trial. Once again, if he's able to do this better over the 3 week period as we're seeing here, then you're going to see him closer to Tadej, and then his time trialing is going to be making a bigger impact on all of this. And by the way, I'm a fan of all these guys, so I don't really care. I'm just telling you, I like a more compact race for drama purposes, right? Tadej's been basically amazing. He's been winning it. I don't foresee him losing out here, and Jonas has been having a little bit more trouble. You may actually have a battle for second and third here coming up. Depends. What I've liked, though, so far about Vingegaard is that he doesn't seem to be caring about podium. He only cares about the win. When you've won it before, I think that's maybe your mentality, which is he's put himself at risk and thrown everything to the wolves, just like, I'm doing what I can to try to win this thing. You know, but in the same respect, Tadej's also been able to punch back. And there you go. All right, stage 18. So EF finally gets a chance, or they finally get in on their belt for this tour. So they're looking good, and you know, probably going to say, what can we do for the next race? Now, let's take a look also at where we want to look at the stage 18 profile. This is of today. Once again, another somewhat brutal day, up and down. It's probably a little bit worse overall, but yet a little easier coming into the finish. We had 179 kilometers gap to Barcelona net. coming into the Alps area. You had a Cat 3, a Cat 3, a Sprint, and then another Cat 3, another Cat 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cat 3s along the way, and a decent amount of climbing. So let's take a look here. I want to go to the so you had the first KOM. You get a riders out the front to break Loscana and Sean Quinn. That's who gets the KOM points there. Oer Lascano gets the second one over Carapaz. Now that breakaway gets huge. And then on the sprint here, do we even get our boys to either one of them? So no. Wout's up there. Matthews wins a sprint point, Squeens, and you don't see all the way down to Molberg. I think there's 20-some riders in that break. You don't see at all Gourmet or Jasper Philipsen. So with that in mind, that's just not that issue's. Gourmet is likely going to win because I don't see. Well, we can still walk through some of the points areas, but still not going to really be much you're going to have a problem with. Nice day out there. It's warm. He's giving fist pumps. Carapaz is. They're wearing masks because people are worried about getting sick once again with COVID. Okay, here's the route. 179.5 kilometers. Going along the water over there. Here's the profile. We've already discussed that. Nice hot day out. Boom. Big break gets up the road. As you said, Michael Matthews, Van der Poel, Squeens is up there, Carpenarts, Carapaz, multiple. Sean Quinn gets up in the break. You had at least Ben Healy. You had Sean Quinn. You had Carapaz, multiple people for EF up there in the break. Jai Hindley, Vandenbroek was up there as well, and 108 kilometers to go. Carapaz is on the front. Now, I wasn't a real big fan. Carapaz takes out here. This group is big, and they're going over these climbs. Bob Le Mans was up there for Visa Lisa bike. Also, Wout van Aert was up there. They're kind of missing this. Louis Meintjes is up there, Jai Hindley, and they're missing out on the move. But Carapaz looks like he wants to do what he did yesterday, and he's taken off, and you got some problems. The problem being is that this group is almost too big, and there's a lot of disjointed, and the attacking is killing some riders, but it's not killing enough of them. So in the end, you still have some riders left here. You get Loscano going up there once again. Bob Lemon, is that his name? Lemon. Squeens going up there, Kwiatkowski, Carpenuts, and I'm trying to remember the name of the rider. Let's get him here because he does deserve to have his name. And Vacher. Those three riders for Total Energies, Ineos, and Lotto Destiny get up the road. Big power here. Now, Kwiatkowski started this move, and you got 23 kilometers to go. There's a 17-second gap to Jai Hindley, and he's got a group there, and then back to 49 seconds to Carapaz, who has in that group is also Wout. Now, Visma has Lemon in the group with Hindley. They're making some headway, but the problem is here, Kwiatkowski is no slouch. I mean, he's won Milan-San Remo. He's been a big domestique, and he's won stages here. Remember, he came into the finish with Carapaz a few years ago. Two of them coming in hand, and Carapaz let Kwiatkowski get the win. Now, Carpenarts, he's a definite breakaway rider. He's a guy that's a big, strong man for time trials. He did really well. I think, fourth at the first time trial in the Tour de France this year? So he's obviously come fourth, fifth, somewhere in there. I think he was the first outside the top four guys. He can time trial. So Vacher is just a little French guy, kind of new. It might be his first Tour de France, and he's not going to really be putting in a lot of work here, but he does help. My point is, it's great to have Campenarts up there with Kwiatkowski, two veteran riders who definitely have a lot of power. And in the end, you can't, the Jai Hindley group, they keep trying to come to this and getting up. They're not really necessarily working that great. Wout tries to start making a move up there, thinking that maybe he can do it. But the climb just wasn't like it was yesterday, which was maybe enough that it would get Carapaz to get up the road. Meanwhile, these three are still going along, and you're going to come into the sprint finish with them. They hit Kwiatkowski is leading it out. Vacher's on his line. Now, 700 meters to go. Vacher actually takes him a chance. He doesn't really get much gap at all. It was pretty easy for Kwiatkowski to pull him back. He does pull him back, but then he's sitting on the front. So it's Kwiatkowski, Vacher, and Campenarts. And Campenarts opens it up and is easily able to come around and get the win. Posts up. Vasher in second, Kwiatkowski in third, and then the remainders come in. And nothing happens for the GC favorites at all. They just come rolling in as you would expect. There you go. Campanitz, Vasher, Kwiatkowski, Squeens, Oscar, Aurier, Lascano, Lemon. Sixth place, 22 seconds back. Nealons, Hindley. You know, they had that thing down close to 10 seconds, I think, at one point. Never really got there. Wout van Aert, though, he does come in ninth place, 37 seconds back. Kind of a missed day, I would say. If you could have hooked up with Lemon, why was that happening? Maybe Lemon comes back and helps, move that, but instead he's chasing in one group right behind the Campaners group, and then Wout's chasing with a big group. Wout maybe needs to get up to something should have happened. It was just a weird kind of day that never materialized. The guys with no real teammates up there end up doing it. No change on the overall general classification. And then we show what is going to come tomorrow, Isla 2000, a big, big day in the mountains. And so there we go. Let's take a look at tomorrow's stage specifically. Nothing changed as far as going on for the green jersey. That might be over and done. Points up for grabs. A sprint early on, that might be the case because there's 20 points there. If Jasper gets it, Grimay doesn't get anything else. I don't know if this next one's in play. So, I mean, technically he can get it, but he being Jasper, but Grimay has to not get any points at all. But there you go. Next 2 days going to be good. Isla 2000. Solid climb you got there. Let's take a look. This is a better way to do it here. There we go. Because this will give us the last climbs. There you go. 16.1 kilometers at 7.1%. That's pretty solid. The climb before that, the Cime de la Bonnet, is 23 kilometers at 6.8. That's a slog. 18.9 kilometers, the Col de Vars at 5.6. And just a little bitty 16 kilometers or so there. That's the first climb there. So what do you have? 3 big ones coming in there. HC, and a 1. That's real solid. I'm predicting Pogacar. I'm also predicting Pogacar on this Col de la Cola. Brutal last day. Let's see, what is this last one, this climb here? 15.8 at 7.3. That's really steady climb. That might be a day, though, for Remco. There's no real gradient change. It looks very, very steady all the way through. For a time trial kind of guy, that's something he's probably looking forward to. Speaking of the fantasy team, picking teams, I totally forgot to even check that out. I left Pogacar on when it was the sprint day, and then I just haven't done anything. I've noticed that Maxim Van Gils has quit, and yet he's still on the team. I just keep picking Pogacar. Guess I just don't care enough to really make it work out. There you go, everybody. Subscribe, like the show, share it around. Maybe we'll do a little better one next time. Maybe that's what it is. Episode 360 will come at you tomorrow. I imagine, looking at my calendar, everything should be fine. I'll come into the office. I'll do a show about 9:30 Pacific, whatever that works out for you out there. And we will break down a huge day on the weekends. Once again, big climbing day tomorrow, big climbing day Saturday, and then Sunday, the final time trial in and around Nice. Hope you all enjoy it. Take care.
Froome now, he goes on the offensive, he goes on the attack over the top of this final climb, and nobody at the moment can go with him.
He had 75 kilometres to go, and now under the Flamme Rouge, and there he is still, the virtual Malia Rosa on the road. Who would have thought it at the start of today? But Chris Froome, masterful performance, takes the win on top of the Jafaraj. Tell me that you love me so, tell me to